in the dang building. All right, we'd like to welcome everybody to our regularly scheduled board meeting for May 16th at 7 o'clock. And we have a declaration of a quorum, 7 members present. Welcome to this meeting of the College Station Independent School District Board of Trustees. We were elected at large to represent the interests of our community and our state in educating our students. Our mission for our students in this district is success each life, each day, each hour. We adhere to all pertinent laws, policies, and procedures in posting agendas and conducting our meetings. The detailed agenda information was made available to us at least 72 hours in advance. We have all come to this meeting informed and prepared. We've just completed a workshop meeting where we heard reports and discussed much of the information needed to make decisions in either this meeting or in upcoming meetings. This is a meeting of 7 trustees in a public setting rather than a public meeting. As such, public comment is included on the agenda at a specific time, requires us to listen rather than take action, so as to abide by the Open Meetings Act. We are pleased that you have taken the time this evening to join us. We're very proud of this school district, and we thank you for your interest in and support of our students. That'll bring us to item C, recognitions. Mr. Martindale.
Thank you, Mr. Horak. This evening, we have students from Oakwood and A&M Consolidated Middle School that are going to lead us in our pledges and our moments of silence. So I'd ask Mr. Espedia and Mr. Grande to come forward and introduce our students who are assisting us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Martindale, Mr. Horak, members of the board. My name is Omar Espedia. I am the proud principal of Bobcat Country, A&M Consolidated Middle School, and I have brought 2 fabulous Bobcats all the way from Bobcat Country, Miss Ava Clark and Mr. Marco Palma, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Ava Clark. I'm an 8th grader at AMCMS. My favorite subjects are probably ELA or history, and I love participating in the sports at my school.
Hi, my name is Marco Palma. I am a 7th grader at A&M Consolidated Middle School. My favorite subject is math. And my favorite thing about AMCMS is probably the sports as well.
Hi, I'm Rocco Grandi, principal of Oakwood Intermediate. I'm proud to introduce Adon Tristan and Trenton Stokes.
Hi, I'm Adon Tristan. I'm from Oakwood, and I'm a 6th grader. My favorite subject is math and ELA, and I love Oakwood. My favorite part of living Oakwood is I'm an avid, and I love playing basketball and soccer.
Hi, my name is Trenton Stokes. I'm a 6th grader at Oakwood, and my favorite subject is probably math. My favorite part about Oakwood is probably my teachers and the way they convey the material.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Now please be seated. Oh, now please be... Wait, what?
Remain standing. Please remain standing for a moment of silence.
Please be standing for a moment of silence.
You may be seated.
You're going to get pictures. Right there. Go right there, picture. Good job.
Very good. You good, Mr. Grande? Are you good? All right, a round of applause for these ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Mr. Horak, that's going to move us to item C2. We have a number of student recognitions this evening, so I'll turn things over to Mr. Glenwinkle.
Thank you, Mr. Martindale, Mr. Horak, members of the board, and all those in attendance this evening. It is always my honor and pleasure to introduce and recognize students in College Station ISD who have competed and won on the state and national level. We have several different categories of recognition this evening. The spring is always busy. And as always, our students and our staff have gone above and beyond and produced quality results in an array of different disciplines. And so first we'll start this evening with Business Professionals of America. A pair of CSISD high school students recently won the national championship in their respective event at the Business Professionals of America National Leadership Conference in Anaheim, California, and two others finished in the top 3 in the nation. Business Professionals of America has the ability to enhance student participation in professional, civic, service, and social endeavors. In these activities to accomplish their goals of self-improvement, leadership development, professionalism, community service, career development, public relations, student cooperation, safety, and health. The following students placed in the top 3 in the nation in their respective events. When I call your name, please come forward over there on y'all's right side to Mr. Martindale and receive a certificate and be recognized. Winning the national championship in Java programming and placing 2nd in the nation in the Computer Programming Open event, Mr. Will Wang. And parents, please feel welcome to come up and take any pictures you'd like. Winning the national championship in legal office procedures, Kelly Ding. Winning 2nd in the nation in intermediate word processing, Ali Dwan. Winning 2nd in the nation in extemporaneous speech, Justin Palazzolo. I'd like to recognize their advisors as well. From A&M Consolidated High School, Terry Casto. And Dawson Deere. And from College Station High School, Shanika Brooks. All right, now we're going to move along to Skills USA. These folks won state championships. A total of 7 College Station ISD high school students won state championships in their respective events at the Skills USA State Contest and will advance to nationals this summer. That will be held in Atlanta in June. Skills USA is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry working together to ensure America has a skilled workforce. A nonprofit national education association, Skills USA serves middle school, high school, and college post-secondary students preparing for careers in trade, technical, and skilled service occupations. The following students won the state championship in their respective event. When I call your name, please come forward to be recognized. In computer programming, Nico Leidendorf. In digital cinema production, Dat Ha. And his teammate in digital cinema production, Joseph Chunga. In extemporaneous speech, May Sareen. In interactive application and video game design, Christian Smalley. And Christian's teammate as well, Carter Haig. The state champion in pen design, Palmer Barham. And coaches from A&M Consolidated High School, Trey Bevins. And Taylor Gotti. Coaches from College Station High School, Stephen Green. And Kimberly Munoz. All right, next we had a FFA team that advanced to the national competition in home site evaluation. The A&M Consolidated High School FFA home site evaluation team recently placed second at the state competition at Tarleton State University to earn a spot in the national contest. FFA home site evaluation is a contest that introduces students to non-agronomic uses of land, including determining the suitability of various types of land for constructing homes, barns, other structures, lawns and landscaping, home sanitation systems, and impoundment structures. I'm not sure if any of these guys were able to make it this evening. I think they had something come up, but we're going to call their names and recognize them regardless. But if you are here, please come forward and receive your certificate. Colin Chase, who is the second high individual in the state of Texas. Jackson Green. Allie Lemons. Miles McGuire. And their coach is A&M Consolidated CTE teacher, Mr. Robert Myatt. All right, now we're moving on to newspaper awards. High school newspaper staffers from the Catamount and the Roar earned multiple awards from the UIL's Interscholastic League Press Conference, including a coveted Bronze Star Award for the CSHS publication. The Bronze Star Award places CSHS's The Catamount as one of the top 12 best student newspaper publications in the state of Texas among all UIL divisions for both public and private schools. The Catamount staff also received the Award of Distinguished Merit for their writing, design, and photography. Individually, the following students earned state medals in the Class 5A division for their work printed in the Catamount and the Roar during the past school year. When I call your name, please come forward to be recognized. First place in student art, Brasidia Bellin. Second place in news feature, Cheyenne Clark. First place in news writing, Dean Crick. So second place in page 1 newspaper design, third in online sports column, third in entertainment feature. This person is the executive editor at the Roar and also won the Texas Association of Journalism Educators Bobby Hawthorne Scholarship, Ian Curtis. Third in entertainment feature, Amari Rutherford. Second place in online graphic and sidebar, Medha Sareen. All right, Elizabeth. So Elizabeth's got lots of awards here. She won first in news writing, second in news feature, second in personal opinion column. Elizabeth is the editor-in-chief of the CSHS's The Catamount newspaper, and she was awarded the Newspaper Editor of the Year for the entire state of Texas, and earned a Thompson Texas Award for news writing, which is a distinction given to one student in all UIL classifications in this category. Elizabeth Stewart, please come forward to be recognized. The advisor for College Station High School's The Catamount is Courtney Wellman. And the advisor for A&M Consolidated High School's The Roar is Michael Williams. Yearbook. Members of the College Station High School yearbook staff placed in the top 3 in various individual categories of the UIL's Interscholastic League Press Conference for their work on the 22-23 Cougar Pride yearbook. Individually, the following students earned state medals in the Class 5A division for their work printed in the Cougar Pride during the last school year. Third place in academic spread, Hannah Gorley. Third place in student life spread, Laura Lee Harrison. Second place story and third place senior photo portfolio, Elizabeth Morton. Third place clubs and organizations, Natalie Richards. Third place student life spread, Ashley Watts. And their advisor is Crystal Lopez. All right, going from the front page to the sports page. The College Station High School mixed doubles team finished the season with a record of 25-1 and played Abilene Wiley in the state championship match. After dropping the first set 4-6, the duo stormed back to win sets 2 and 3, 6-3, and 6-4 to earn the Class 5A state mixed doubles state championship. When I call your name, please come forward to be recognized. Maya Diasheva. It's a freshman, too. Paxton O'Shea. And their coach is Mr. Ed Stricker. All right. An A&M Consolidated gymnast won the state championship in the uneven bars at the Texas High School Gymnastics Coaches Association state meet. Her combined two-day score of 19.45 and final day score of 9.950 was best among the 83 competitors who competed in the uneven bars. In addition to the state championship in the uneven bars, Avery Ramos earned first team All-State with her fourth place all-around finish. Avery, please come forward to be recognized. Avery's coach is Lexa Martinez. Three College Station High School powerlifters placed in the top three at the 5A Division I Texas High School Women's Powerlifting Association meet. Powerlifters compete against others in their weight class to see who can lift the highest total amount of weight in three disciplines: squat, bench press, and deadlift. The following students placed in the top three in their respective weight class. When I call your name, please come forward to be recognized. In second place with a squat of 370 pounds, a bench of 160 pounds, and a deadlift of 360 pounds, Kylie Kramer. Earning third place in her class with a 425-pound squat, a 245 bench press, and a 360-pound deadlift, Emily Thompson. And earning third place in her weight class with a 435-pound squat, a 180-pound bench, and a 330-pound deadlift, Jesse Kolodziejczyk. And the College Station High School strength coach and powerlifting coach, Coach Greg Frazier. Mr. Martindale, that concludes our recognitions for this evening.
You wouldn't cause problems.
Good to see you, buddy. Hey, good job on the mic.
All right, that'll bring us to item C3. We'd like to recognize the artwork there at the back of the boardroom from Oakwood Intermediate and A&M Consolidated Middle School. So make sure y'all check that out before you head out for the evening. Bring us to item D1, board reports. Who would like to start?
I can start for Head Start. 11 of our Family Services staff members were able to attend the National Head Start Conference last week in Phoenix, and they had a lot of fun and learned a lot there. And then we have already taken in well over 250 applications since April 1st. So this is in large thanks to Christy, Renati, and Melissa for helping all the families complete the application process. So thanks, ladies.
I'll do Education Foundation. Hopefully a lot of you were able to attend. Just last night was the scholarship award ceremony. And last night they awarded $159,000 to 117 scholarship recipients. So lots of amazing students being recognized, and thanks to the Education Foundation for really making that happen. But also definitely want to report that last night was a milestone for scholarships, and they've now given away $1 million in scholarships since the foundation was incepted. So that's pretty impressive. Nice job.
The District Education Improvement Committee met and basically kind of followed along with our presentations at the board workshop tonight. The committee received a facilities committee update in relation to the potential for a bond. Also, there was this discussion about the employee award ceremony that was held last week. And then we went into discussion about our dropout prevention really the good thing out of that meeting was, and again, we heard this at the board workshop earlier this evening, but there's always room for improvement, but all of our numbers are better than the state average. And then there was also discussion led by Ms. Parkerson, I believe, about the possibility of a flexible school day program at the Accelerated Academy at College View High School. And so DEIC will have one more meeting this year in June, which will be by Zoom.
Anything else? All right, Mr. Martindale.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Warwick. Just wanted to recap workshop. Just make sure and comment again and express our appreciation to the Long Range Facility Planning Committee and those 48 folks that served in that capacity, beginning with our first meeting that was the end of March, and they wrapped up the last week and presenting to the board with the various projects, a proposed bond for the board to consider and discuss with a total of right at $350 million. So we know that the board will be discussing that in greater detail June and July, and are not required to take any action until August, mid-August. So thank you again to those folks, and for Mr. Bennett and Ms. Iggy presenting on their behalf. And also, I just wanted to touch base, if my count is right, we just recognized 33 students during our student recognition for a multitude of reasons, from state championships to national championships, from BPA to powerlifting across the board. And just, I think it's an example of the wonderful things our students are doing and the hard work of faculty and staff. Right now, of course, well, I want to make sure and mention next Monday, 22nd, 6 p.m. is groundbreaking ceremony for Phase 1 of our CTE Center. I believe we posted specific information on that, about that on our social media accounts today. But again, next Monday, the 22nd at 6 p.m. at that site. And again, our post has the address for that. The community is welcome to participate or be an audience at that ceremony. Also, of course, next week we'll wrap up the school year with our graduations. College View is Thursday. Next Thursday, 7 p.m., Rudder Theater. Boy, that's the same location as last year. And then on Friday, our two comprehensive high schools. We have CSHS at 4 p.m. Of course, that's Reed Arena, and Consolidated will be at 8 p.m. at Reed Arena. And I know I don't have to remind you, I would get there early to avoid traffic. Next Friday also is an early release in the district. And mentioning graduation ceremonies, I do want to mention this as well. Right now, our senior scholarship money for this graduating class is tracking a little better than $10 million. So that's wonderful. Again, symbolic of the great work the kiddos are doing and our faculty and staff. So that wraps up Superintendent's report. Mr. Horak.
All right. That'll bring us to item E, hearing of citizens. Any others? Nope. During this time, public comments are welcome. The Open Meetings Act prevents us from responding to speakers regarding items not on the agenda. Comments related to items on the agenda may be discussed during deliberations on that specific agenda item. Please complete the note card, give it to the executive assistant. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Those needing an interpreter may have up to 6 minutes. Each person has one opportunity at the microphone regardless of minutes used. Unused minutes may not be accrued by another speaker. Executive assistants will time the comments and alert the president when the time has expired. The board asks that those addressing the board refrain from derogatory comments. Our first speaker is going to be Stephanie Casaron.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Casaron. I have a 16-year-old boy. I'm sorry, I have to speak fast. I have 3 pages. I have a 16-year-old son, Matthew. He's a junior at Consol, and my 6-year-old son, Joshua, is a kindergarten at Rock Prairie. I come to you all with a very humble heart and a plea, not just for my children, but for all children residing in College Station, current and future students. On April 26th, I was rear-ended by a forklift in the parent pickup area, if there even is a designated pickup area, at Consolidated while waiting for Matthew to be dismissed. I arrive purposely every day around 3:30 to avoid congestion and mishaps such as this. On Friday, April 28th, Joshua, my God-fearing little man who tries so hard to love and be friends with everyone, was punched in the stomach by a peer. He told a teacher. I was never informed by the school, but only by Josh on Monday, May 1st. He has sensory processing disorder. We are teaching him to use his words to communicate. We are proactive and support his teacher, but the substitute teacher wasn't aware of his needs because they aren't significant enough to warrant an IEP or 504, but he does have a diagnosis. But his needs are now significant after he has completely shut down after all the abuse that he has suffered in just 1 week. I emailed his teacher, the principal, the counselor, and the nurse in one mass email. Respectful email, mind you. I immediately received a phone call from the nurse to discuss what treatment she provided. I have no complaints about that. I then received a call from the counselor. We agreed to proceed with testing for Josh. Again, I have no complaints about that. I received an email from his teacher, no complaints about her. I got a call from the assistant principal, even though I didn't even email her, so that's wonderful, who said that they would view, her and Mr. Duran would view the video and that I should be hearing from him. Although I never did, but I trust him from our experiences with my eldest at Creekview. The following week, Joshua was purposely tripped by a peer, which caused him to fall directly onto his ear. Again, he has sensory processing disorder, which this likely caused tinnitus, like ringing, which I have from the military, and so I know what that's like. I wear $6,000 devices in my ear for that. So he went to the nurse and was dismissed back to class because the physical exam seemed normal, but how do you test for ringing in your ears? On May 5th, Josh was minding his business while eating lunch. He tries to be mindful and ignore loud noises as his daddy and I coach him at home. However, this is what made me realize that all of our children truly need help. And I absolutely hate to label.
Thank you. Next card is Lisa Martinez.
Hello, I'm Lisa Martinez, and I reside in College Station, and we are stationed in College Hills with our 7-year-old kiddo. At the kind of call of a parent, Stephanie, within infamous moms Facebook groups, could just kind of ask for a rallying cry, see if people, parents of College ISD can come over, give some comments about bullying or praise. And the thing is that at the first instance, I was going to come in and talk about praise, which I still am. The thing is also, though, at our school, College Hills, my child is somewhat in a bubble. They're in a very great dual language program, amazing teachers, and my child is very different. So part of the reason why I left my full-time job is so that I can be present as much as possible, but I know not everybody can do that. But because of my presence, I'm there through PTO and other volunteer opportunities, and I do witness phone calls and calls for help and disciplinary issues almost every other day that I'm there. College Hills is not the outlier here, and I understand that every school has a disciplinary problem. I'm here to speak up, to talk about that it can have a positive turn if we do have some good partnerships, some kind of follow through, because my child, who I was very concerned about, goes to school in a bubble. And even though that he has not been immune to some bullying, we do teach them at home ever since he was 3. And we have them in Taekwondo for self-defense, not for provocation, because we, as their parents, know what school can be like for different kids. So I'm here to praise College Hills and to say that I'm going to continue. We're going to continue living on a one-income salary because the safety of our children is more important. But at the same time, I'm here to support parents like Stephanie, who may not be as available, or parents who don't know where to start, and to say that it is possible. It is possible with a lot of cooperation and a lot of intentional purpose. So thank you so much for the effort that everyone has and puts in here. Thank you for parents like Stephanie for pulling out a call for help, because while there are so many more vocal, thank you.
Thank you. That will bring us to item F, consent agenda. Those items are G, J1 through J5, K1 through K4.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Hall, second by Mr. Ben. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. That'll bring us to item H, H1, receive a report on leadership development in College Station ISD. Mr. Martindale.
Thank you, Mr. Horak, and board members. For our monthly program report, we have Mr. Mann, our Director of Leadership Development and Professional Learning. Jeff?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Martindale, Mr. Horak, Board of Trustees. It's my pleasure to come to you this evening to be able to share with you the work that we've been doing in leadership development and in the connection with the Holdsworth Center. So these are the topics that I'm going to briefly touch on this evening. I'm going to go through some of the higher points of our Holdsworth partnership, hit on some activities that we've completed throughout the district over the 18-month period, share with you guys the program growth that we've seen, some brief evaluation data. We're still young in some of this work, but we have some things that we'll look at, and then talk about how many folks are participating in the program and the goals that we have. So in our partnership, as you are all well aware, in September 2021, the three of us, myself, Molly Perry, Tiffany Parkerson, started making treks quite frequently down to Austin to the Holdsworth Center. And so we are a part of the Leadership Collaborative, and then Mr. Martindale obviously was our superintendent on the superintendent leadership group as well. And so we were not down there together very often because they are two separate programs, but there is some overlap with them. And every time that we returned as a cabinet, we would have conversation around the things that we covered and the impact that it would have for us on it as a district. And so you can see here in front of you, we've shared these previously. These are the 14 districts that were a part of the Leadership Collaborative. And their size ranges anywhere from 6,000 to 7,000 students to literally tens of thousands of students. Every district was allocated 3 positions to be able to have central office staff members there and present. And the biggest expectation for all of us was to come ready to learn and collaborate and push ourselves in our growth. And that's exactly what happened. We had 10 total sessions over the 18-month period, and this will be the 3rd time that I've been able to provide you guys with an update throughout the course of this work. This graphic represents pretty much what was expected of us whenever we would go to sessions and come back from the sessions. So we would come in and a 3-day process, we would spend part of that time learning. They would provide us some items they wanted us to bring, either artifacts or data, so that we could analyze that and then make connections between that data and what we were learning, and then prepare a plan to bring back and implement in the district. And that's exactly what we did. We would come back and put work into motion. We would evaluate that and then make adjustments based upon that work. So it was a very iterative process every time that we went back and forth. And Holdsworth really taught us that yes, we want to create a leadership pipeline, but in order to have that in place, we have to have a really strong leadership definition. And they helped us understand through their framework of pillars and enablers how to put this leadership definition into action. And so I'm going to go through a little bit of that here. For Holdsworth's purposes, the leadership pipeline is built to the endpoint of the principalship. And so whenever I reference that in some of this data, it's ending at the principalship, but in College Station, we are working to build it beyond that because we know we have leadership needs beyond the principalship. But Holdsworth puts a high emphasis on this because of the research that shows that with the exception of the classroom teacher, the second position on a campus that has the greatest impact on student achievement is the principal. And so it's mightily important that we develop our principals the way that they deserve to be developed. You've seen the Holdsworth House before, and the leadership definition is the foundation work that they provide for us. They reminded us that they can't do anything about our district culture. That's our responsibility as district leaders to make sure the culture's in the right place for this work. But then they helped us create the leadership definition, and I've shared this with you previously, and here in a little bit I'll kind of remind you of the process that we went through to create this leadership definition. But it definitely is the foundation of the work that we're doing in all of our programs. The pillars and enablers, those are the items that Holdsworth really took the time to teach us how to bring that leadership definition to life. And I want to take a moment and kind of showcase the different aspects of the pillars because that's really where we spend a bulk of our time. And so with the first pillar, the identification pillar, right, just as it says at the top, what district-wide processes do we have in place to identify systemically identification of talent, right? And so you can see by the graphic that they shared with us, we have all of our staff, and then who are we saying has the potential for the principalship? And then once we identify them, how are we growing them? And that's where it connects into the development pillar. Because it's not just enough to identify someone and say, hey, we think you have potential to be a leader. Holdsworth talks about the system has a responsibility to grow folks into that leadership. And if you think back to that pipe, those dark colored transition pipes, they teach us that's where a lot of people get stuck. They're unable to make a transition successfully because no one has taught them the things they don't know about the role, okay? And so they really taught us the 70-20-10 model, that 70% of their learning should come from experiences. And we know that. I mean, we learn as human beings by doing. And so the 10% is the classroom instruction that we think about, but that's really not where we do a lot of our learning, right? So 70% of it is built in with learning, and then 20% is through coaching and mentoring. And so whenever we create our developmental systems, how are we using this model? That's the question they constantly asked us. And then the third pillar is place. And so once we've identified folks and we've started to develop them and grow them, then it's time to have interviews and say, hey, we want to place you at a campus, right? And so the conversation and the learning that they had with us is it's more than just, is that person ready? If you develop your pipeline system appropriately, is the person the match that you need for the school and the district and the position, right? And so every school has their needs. Every aspiring administrator has their strengths that they can bring to a position. So what's the good match? And that's what they talk with us about. As you get further developed in this work, you'll be able to really match people and place people accordingly. And then the last piece, obviously, is support. Once people are in the role, how are you continuing to support their growth? Because we're trying to get people to a point where they're a ready hire, right? Not a stretch hire, but they still need to be grown in their role. Because there's certain things you just don't know until you're in the job, right? And so these are the 4 different things that they talk with us about building the systems and processes for that support component. And so if you look at the Holdsworth House, these pillars and the learning that we completed over that 18-month process was very critical in how we are shaping our leadership development work. And so it was very valuable learning for us. And because of this, we completed many activities across the district. And I shared with this from the very first time that I've shared with you guys the work that we were doing was the creation of the leadership definition. It took a year to get this created. It was a very iterative process. We had the task force that had 34 members. Half of them were strategic design committee members. And that was on purpose because we really wanted to make sure we had connection to that work. And what we tell people about this leadership definition is this is the leadership that we know we need for our strategic plan to be implemented. And so it's very, very connected to that work, and it's a part of it. And once we created this leadership definition, we took it and started to create some role-specific behaviors. Because whenever we would bring this and we would sit with our principals in the collaborative sessions and our APs in the collaborative sessions and read the definition and say, okay, that's great. What does this mean? What does it look like, right? And so we began to create by categories and competencies what it looks like to empower others. What are those components? And we created with them. And so we would make a draft, go to Holdsworth, have conversation, bring it back, get their input, get their feedback, and start to create these things that we would want to see as a look for, so to speak. And it's a growth component for folks to see, I'm not quite there yet, so I can keep pushing in on what I'm doing and what I'm learning. And it's based off of what we created as a system. The same thing goes for our job embedded growth that we're building in for our aspiring administrators. And so we took the leadership definition and we created what we call our 70% leadership development activities. So if you're an aspiring administrator and you come into our Aspiring Admin Institute, so Mr. Horak says, I want to be a principal, and he comes in and, yeah, right, shake your head no. He comes in and he takes a self-assessment based on our leadership definition that's very detailed. But through that process, he identifies different categories and competencies that he feels like he needs to get more experience with. We have activities associated with those specific categories and competencies for him to say, I want to talk with my principal about doing this, this, and this. And so, and everything that we have on there is job embedded work that needs to be done. It needs to be done at the campus level or at the district level. And so it's not an extra, it's not, it's not a master's degree level assignment kind of thing. It's related to the work in the district. And it's designed to get them some of that 70% hands-on learning that they need. I mentioned this a moment ago. We have our principal and assistant principal collaboratives, and that's our job-alike training, where we bring those folks together once a month, often in this room, and we spend about half the time on leadership development topics and then about half the time on instructional topics, usually around our strategic design work. And so this is where they come together as peers and push on each other and have conversations with each other and learn and grow as a group. And our Aspiring Administrator Institute is exactly what it sounds like. This program is for folks that aspire to either campus administration or district. We really spend a lot of time digging into the work that we've done previously as a district. So you see the visioning documents listed there because we want people to understand where a lot of our work is driven through, but the leadership definition, and then they get a variety of experiences. I've just listed a few of them here. There's 5 meetings over the course of the year, and they're day-long sessions, and then they have things they complete in between, and often it's activities they're completing through their experiential learning. And so it's very, very growth for them, very growth oriented. And then this year we created the Assistant Principal Fellowship Program. And so the participants in this program completed the Aspiring Administrator Program, but for whatever reason they weren't hired for a position. They're all certified. They all could be hired right now, okay? But we wanted to continue leading into their growth. And this gets into the conversation that Holdsworth would have with us, is saying, as a system, as a district, you have a responsibility to continue to grow your people. And so how are you making sure that you have a ready bench of people ready, even if they didn't make the cut the first time they tried, they may be the next year, right? So how are you making sure they're ready? And that's exactly what this program is. The difference is this one was very heavily geared toward experiences, and each one of them had a mentor from the cabinet level to really work with them and give them some guidance. And so over the course of our time with Holdsworth, our program has definitely seen some growth. The banners you see in front of you here, these are different programs and supports that we had in existence prior to joining Holdsworth. Obviously, we're all familiar with Success Team. That's been our model forever, is all of our leaders get some type of growth and guidance through that. It's changed over the years. But in all of our growth that we had in the 2010s with adding schools all the time, there was the need for them to create the new Administrator Academy for onboarding processes. And then 2015 Teacher Leadership Academy was created to help grow teacher leaders and possibly identify some future administrators. But then in 2020, we created the Aspiring Administrator Institute to be very specific to people that aspire to administration and how are we growing them with purpose and intent. And that's really allowed us to differentiate teacher leadership to true teacher leadership and not folks that want to be principals. And then prior to, we received feedback from our principals and assistant principals about really wanting that targeted growth. And so we had created the collaboratives. And then we joined Holdsworth. And since joining Holdsworth, we added the Assistant Principal Fellowship. This year, our special education department created the Teacher Leadership Academy for their teachers, because being a special education teacher has different expectations of being a department head and things they need to know. And so they started that work, which was fabulous. And then we are going to have an Aspiring Head Coaches Academy coming up next year. And all of these are built through with some of the pillars and the leadership. The leadership definition is involved in all of it, but you can see the banners on the bottom, they're existing. So it's all about developing and supporting folks. The banners on the top are all about the identification, development, and placement of folks. And so then, you know, we're doing a lot of work over this 18-month period. And so you ask yourself, is it working, right? And we don't have a lot of data right now, but I gathered data from the last 5 years of just looking at the principal and the assistant principal. And so this, what you see in front of you, this is the number of principals that we've hired in those years and assistant principals in those years. And so with the principal column, I researched back and how many of those were filled with the current existing assistant principal. And then with the AP column, how many of those were we able to fill with the aspiring administrator folks. And so obviously it's young data, right? But it's a good start. It's an indicator that we're headed in the right direction, in that we're working hard to grow our people, to provide opportunity for them, and to create sustainability for us as a district, right? It's not that we aren't against hiring people from the outside, but we want to maintain work that we're doing, and the best way to do that is to gain that momentum and maintain that momentum, right? And this helps us to do that. And so with our participants, we have 19 folks in the Aspiring Admin group this year. So that's our year one Aspiring Administrator program. Obviously, all of our principals and assistant principals participate in their collaborative sessions. We don't pull them all at the same time because that would not go over well, having them all off campus, right? But we all come together. And then we had 13 AP fellows this year, and then the special education TLA program had 21. And we'll see how many applications they receive for the Coaches Academy. But I'm excited to see where that goes for them. So goals, this is what I had a quick conversation with Mr. Martindale at the start of the year about what I wanted to be able to see get accomplished this year. So obviously, at the time of us talking, we hadn't fully developed the leadership definition yet. And then I knew we were going to start making these behaviors off of that. And so I wanted to get those into place and then really implement the leadership definition into our work and then continue to build our principal pipeline, right? And so you can see that some of them have been accomplished. All of them are in action or will be action whenever we come back from the summer break because I need teachers' voice in the creation of the teacher piece of it. But it's been very busy, good, exciting work that people really like to be a part of. So with that, I will take any questions or comments that anyone has.
Jeff, I know that a lot of our teachers have enthusiasm and comfort in the classroom, but they might be more introverted elsewhere. So I hope that we continue to look at the teachers who maybe don't self-identify. And like we do with students where we pull them aside and encourage them to consider it. And on the flip side, I would challenge the teachers to step up and do that as well, maybe where it's beyond their comfort zone or they're not sure what they're getting into, but they want to explore it. So I think it's great that we have this, but I hope we continue to look for those that maybe don't self-identify.
I agree. I appreciate that.
I think this is a wonderful program. It hits two things that are very critical. Is you look at all the research and it shows that developing your own talent is the way forward just because there'll be such competition across industries. And then the critical thing, McKinsey 2 months ago published a survey about why people are leaving or going to jobs. And of course, number one was pay. Everyone isn't paid enough in their mind. The second most important thing across all industries was professional development opportunities. I think that's a great way we can set our school district apart, where we invest in people that want to be invested in and providing those opportunities. And that's both on the recruiting and the retaining side. So this hits both sides, I think, for long-term investment.
100% agree. I mean, really, it allows us to recognize, develop, and keep our best people, and that's what we want to do whenever we can. So thank you. Also, thanks for doing the leadership definition and tying that in with the strategic design. Obviously, this was focused on more in the principles, but I think we've mentioned that some of us, we were referencing that as we turned to hiring a new district leader. I was just curious if you feel like that this definition will apply for our district leadership as well.
Yes, 100%, right? Because that's how we designed it, not with particular positions in mind. That's where the role-specific behaviors come into play. That's why we're going to be building out through the different categories. And we shared that feedback with Into Learning whenever they met with us, and they had already been looking at it because it's up on our website. So yes, they are very aware.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And honestly, I have the short version here, right, and I know somewhere I have the longer slide, but if you would send the one slide of the details of the leadership definition maybe out to all of us, I think that would be really timely for
I can do that. It's on
tomorrow.
Our website as
yeah,
well.
Point us to it. Yeah,
I'll put it in transmittal. No problem.
Thank you.
Can you remind me what qualified why we're part of Holdsworth, how that happened? You just jogged my memory.
Mr. Martindale, you want to answer? You received those phone calls, not me. We applied for their 5-year program, and then they contacted us after the fact and said, hey, we're starting this other collaborative that's more a condensed version, and we really want College Station to be a part of it. That's what I know. I don't know if Mr. Martindale has anything else to add to that.
I do, but I'm not adding.
So it's an honor.
No, we did. We applied for their 5-year, and actually they, after going through that process, gave us a call and said, there is, we were beginning this work already. And what Holdsworth did was it gave us a frame to continue our work. We would have gotten there, it taken us twice as long, and we would have had to grow and make mistakes along the way. They provided us the frame to accelerate that work. So I think they recognized us along with about a dozen other school districts who had started this work to define and invest in internal leadership. And so I think we were probably farther along than some of the districts they wanted to put in the 5-year program. And there was a number of us that had began the work that were more positioned for an accelerated type of program, and thus the 18-month. So the concept is to give a district the tools to prepare future-ready leaders and establish a bench, so to speak, of leaders with a 5-year projection.
So this is support for school districts and superintendents to grow them as well, basically. I mean, if I put it really
Correct.
simply.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just to make sure I'm understanding, so you're growing, you're identifying and growing people, but you're also at the same time, this is also providing support for your principals that love being principals.
Yes.
And that don't aspire necessarily. I mean, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But this is for those that are very happy with their placement. And so they're getting growth and support through this as well.
Yes, 100%. This is about growing all of our folks where they are and pushing them to their potentials.
I guess, Ms. Nolan, I see Central Office Administration's responsibility to support campus administration in whatever way possible.
Yeah, yeah. No, fantastic. I know you guys have put a lot of work into this, and I think it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to add too. Obviously, a lot of trips to the Holdsworth Center and then the time here as well. So thanks to all 4 of you for your commitment to this over that time period. Thank you.
Sure. Anything else? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
That'll bring us to item I1, consider approval of new administrator contracts as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Mr. Martindale.
Speaking of leadership, did we bridge those 2 items for you nicely? Board, we have 4 administrative contract recommendations we would like to bring for your consideration. I'm going to go through all of these, whatever questions and action you so choose to take, and then maybe we can do some introductions. For principal at College Hills Elementary, we are recommending Catherine Allen. Katie has been assistant principal at Katie Brenham and currently Bastrop ISD. Prior to serving in the role of assistant principal, she's been a turnaround specialist, instructional specialist, ESL specialist, and instructional coordinator. That's Katie Allen for principal at College Hills Elementary. For principal of College Station Middle School, we have Mr. Joshua Ryan. Josh is currently assistant principal at College Station High School. Prior to serving in that role, he taught at both Greens Prairie Elementary and South Knoll Elementary. Josh also served as a site director for CSISD's Summer Day Camp program for 9 years. For the role of assistant principal at College Station High School, we're recommending Mr. Blake Rice. Blake is currently assistant principal at Mount Pleasant High School. Prior to serving as assistant principal there, he was a CTE teacher and ag science coordinator at Mount Pleasant. For the role of assistant principal at Welborn Middle School, we're recommending Elizabeth Ortega, or Lizzie Ortega. Lizzie is currently at Creekview, has been there since 2010, currently serves as an instructional coach and campus technology facilitator, and prior to that worked as early intervention specialist and classroom teacher. Those are the 4 administrative recommendations we have before you this evening.
Mr. Martindale, I'd move to approve the administrator contracts as recommended.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Ben, a second by Ms. Nolan. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations.
I didn't know, Mr. Ryan. I thought they were going to trip us up on yours. No, some introductions real quick. And I think Katie, I can't quite see her. Katie's here. Katie, if you'll stand, just so everyone can see you. Welcome aboard. And do you have any guests you would like to introduce to us? Elliot. Thank you very much. Katie, welcome aboard. Mr. Ryan, so you're moving your boxes down the road a little bit now. Congratulations. Introductions?
Sarah, right here.
Very good, Sarah. Congratulations, Josh. I don't know, Mr. Grimes, is Blake with us this evening?
No, sir.
Okay, because that's about a 3 or 4 hour drive. So in 4 hours, we're excited to have Blake with us, having met him as a part of the interview process. Very impressive young man. And I know I saw Lizzie. I'm looking for her again. Lizzie Ortega. Lizzie, I can't tell, do you have guests with you? Flying solo. Quite all right. Flying solo. Welcome. Thank you, Lizzie. Good deal. Mr. White.
All right, since we don't have an exec session tonight, we wanted y'all to stay around for this. As you know, Mr. Martindale has announced his retirement, and so the board wanted to pay tribute to him. We don't have a video or anything like that. Unfortunately, that would have been neat. We could have made it neat. But we want to thank you for all your years here at College Station ISD and what you have contributed over that time, and especially here in your last role as superintendent of schools for College Station ISD. We appreciate you probably more than you know, and thank you for taking us through, what is the word, unprecedented times from 2020, and guiding the ship as we navigated that into our strategic design plan, bonds, TREs, and just overall support for our faculty and staff, and more importantly, our students. In recognition of that, we've got a little something for you.
Yeah, everything about Mr. Horak makes me nervous, so I apologize.
I'll just do it here. So, I have a little board here. You can use it as you wish. It says, never underestimate the difference you've made in the lives you've touched. Congratulations on your retirement. Mike Martindale, 2023. Again, we appreciate it. Go ahead, Darren.
Is this on, Chuck? Okay, cool. We're not done.
It's a new chair for me.
I'm going to present some numbers to you, Amy, for a change, okay? CSISD has around 14,000 students, and we keep growing. That means we have an estimated 28,000 parents, give or take, not including grandparents, community members. Combine those numbers, and we have 42,000 people. 42,000 people in one tightly knit community. That means we have 42,000 opinions in one school district. 42,000 opinions about academics, sports, arts, pay, facilities, boundaries, taxes, calendars, technology, programs, and on and on. Everyone with a voice and the right to share it. Now, I don't know about your families, but oftentimes getting the 4 of us in my household to agree on something is like trying to herd cats across the open plains. Imagine trying to align 42,000 people and keep them happy. That's what Mr. Martindale has worked tirelessly to do since taking over as superintendent, and he did so just before COVID piled on top of that already existing list. This also happened on the heels of the rezoning process, where grown adults did things we encourage our children not to do, and the previous superintendent left. Yet through it all, school must go on. Kids show up to learn, teachers show up to educate, and the superintendent must lead. That is an extremely challenging, demanding, and often thankless job. One that I know Mr. Martindale did with passion, integrity, and good old-fashioned hard work. He would listen to those opinions, to the students, to the teachers, to the staff, to the community, to the passionate parents. Sure, he would respond when appropriate, but it was not his opinion he was giving. Rather, it was a response in trying to do what was right. To do what was right by the students, by the teachers, and by those passionate parents. Well, now, as he rides off into the sunset in his undisclosed age, I figure it's time for him to return the favor. Now, it's not really his style to fire off emails or Facebook rants. Instead, he can sit in his driveway in his new rocker and just fuss about everybody's yard not looking as good as his now that he has plenty of time to attend to it. For your many years of service to educating youth, advocating for teachers, and leading CSISD through these challenging years, thank you for everything you have done.
Thank you for the new chair, Darren. That strikes real close to home. You know that. That's like the one I sit in my driveway when you drive by, right?
Just wave at us while we go to work in the morning.
Yes, I won't be up that early. Well, thank you both, and thank you all. Everything's about the team, right? So I have told those that have called me about our school district, and I'm like, it's just a great team. School board, to central office, to campus administration, and whomever will be very fortunate. So thank you all.
Everybody good?
It's hard to top Darren, though, but I did have the few little notes real quick.
Notebook, Kim.
I know, but I write big so I can read it. I write large, so it's large print. I cannot pass this up because as I've told Mike, I was very pleased and proud to be part of hiring you for this job, very much so. And I've told anybody who would ask or not ask that I was. So you've been a wonderful superintendent to us and one that we definitely needed. And I'll just say 4 reasons why I really feel so. One was COVID. We needed you there, and you took us through that. We are in such a better place than so many other school districts because of your leadership. So glad to have you there. The other thing is what we just talked about. You are a leader of leaders and a developer of leaders. And we look around this room, and you are leaving us with a whole lot of wonderful people. And I mean, I cannot thank you enough for doing that. So it's so important. The third one was doing strategic design. I mean, I remember that meeting so vividly when we sat down and, we were in COVID, but we said we need to focus on what's important. And you said that, and I'm so glad we did that when we did it. It was the right thing to do. And again, thank you for focusing on what's important, focusing on our students. And then just last, you have so much integrity. You are somebody that, Again, we've been so fortunate to have you here leading this district, and somebody that everybody should be able to trust and know that you've always been looking out for our students through everything you've done. And thank you so much for doing that for us. Thanks.
All right, with that, we will adjourn. Thank you all for being here.